I used to think silence meant peace, that if a house was quiet, it must be filled with calm, love, and safety. But in the Watson house, silence was something else entirely. It was a warning, a trap, the kind of silence that presses on your chest and makes you question everything about yourself. My name is Elena, and I grew up behind the doors of a house that the world called perfect. My father was a respected bank manager, known in town for his crisp suits, firm handshakes, and Sunday speeches at church. My mother matched him in every way, quiet, composed, dressed to perfection. Together, they were admired. People said they were the model family. But appearances are cheap. Behind those walls, there was no warmth. There was order, discipline, routine, but no love. I was not a daughter. I was a symbol, a quiet, obedient display piece, raised to reflect their image. I wasn't allowed to make mistakes, and emotions were treated like crimes. I don't remember the first time I cried myself to sleep, but I do remember the night I asked if I could go to a classmate's birthday party. I was 8. I didn't yell, I didn't demand. I just asked. My father's face changed. That night, he poured dry rice onto the wooden floor and told me to kneel. He said I needed to ask God for forgiveness. The rice dug into my knees. I cried until I couldn't see. The next day, when a teacher asked why I was limping, I told her I'd fallen on the stairs. She believed me. After all, I was a Watson. My mother never stopped him. She didn't lift a finger or raise her voice. She didn't have to. Her silence was punishment enough. After my father left the room, she would clean the wounds and whisper, "Don't provoke him." Or, "He just wants what's best." And I believed her, because children always believe the ones who raise them, even when it hurts. By the time I was 12, I could clean the entire house to perfection. I knew the exact way to fold towels. I knew not to speak at the dinner table unless spoken to. I knew to avoid loud laughter or tears. I learned how to read the tension in the air from the sound of the front door closing. Friends weren't allowed to visit. I couldn't attend sleepovers. My schedule was strict: church, school, home. Always home. I existed to make them look good. At 16, I got a part-time job at a diner. My father hated it, said it made us look desperate, but I kept it. For the first time, I felt like a person. Customers asked me questions. Coworkers joked with me. I started saving every dollar I earned. I kept the money in a tin box hidden in the back of my closet. School was my escape. I studied hard, joined clubs, stayed late at the library. I was determined to leave. I applied to a college 3 states away. I got in with a partial scholarship and student housing. All I needed was my father's signature on the paperwork. I remember the moment clearly. He read the form. Then, without a word, he folded it and pushed it back toward me. "You're not going," he said. No discussion. No reason. Just a command. My mother sipped her tea and said nothing. Like always. That night, something broke. But not the way I used to break. Quietly, hopelessly. This break was cold. Sharp. Final. I packed a bag with a few clothes, my savings, my ID, and a photo of myself as a child. The last time I remembered truly smiling. At 3 a.m., I left through the side door and walked 10 miles to a bus station. I didn't leave a note. I didn't look back. The first few months were brutal. I cleaned motel rooms, slept in hostels, took temp jobs just to eat. I went days without sleep. But I was free. Slowly, I rebuilt. I found contract work in digital marketing. I taught myself everything I could. Eventually, I got clients, built a business. By 27, I owned a small agency. I lived in a bright apartment with sunrise windows and a lock no one else controlled. But I hadn't forgotten. I didn't want revenge in the way people think of revenge. I didn't want to hurt them with violence or arguments. I wanted the truth to breathe. I wanted them exposed. I wanted them to feel the weight of what they'd hidden. So I watched. From a distance. I followed their church website. Subscribed to the local newspaper. My father still gave speeches on integrity. My mother still chaired the women's committee. But I remembered his locked drawers. the late-night calls. I followed the paper trail. Shell companies. Fake charities. Wire transfers that didn't match his salary. I even found proof of a years-long affair with his former secretary, receipts, emails, and photos. I took everything I found and turned it into stories. I started a blog, anonymous, well-written, believable. Each story was a slightly fictional version of the truth. Readers didn't know my name, but people from my town started recognizing the patterns. A powerful father, a silent mother, a daughter who vanished. The blog grew. Readers wrote in. Some shared their own stories. Others said they knew exactly who I was writing about. I still had one more piece, a cassette tape from when I was 11. My father screaming, threatening, saying I was worthless. I had hidden it for years, then digitized it. On a Sunday evening, I published one last blog post with the audio file. You think you're something special? You're just a mistake we kept too long. A parasite. The tape spread fast. Hundreds of shares. Dozens of comments. Former neighbors reached out shocked. Some apologized for never noticing. Some were just stunned. Then came the journalists. I didn't speak to them directly. Instead, I passed the evidence to an investigative reporter. The money trail, the affair, everything. The story made the news. The hypocrisy behind the smile, financial scandal in Briarwood. The bank suspended my father. The church made vague statements. But the town already knew. And once public trust is broken, it rarely returns. Neighbors stopped waving. Old friends cut contact. Someone filmed my father yelling at a reporter on his lawn. His face red. His voice shaking. He looked small. My mother disappeared from public life. No more events. No more meetings. She became what she always was, a shadow. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel cruel. I felt clean. A month later, I returned to my hometown not to see anyone, just to walk. I visited the cemetery, sat under the weeping willow, where I used to hide as a child. I told the little girl inside me, "You were right to leave. You were right to survive." Before I left, I drove past the house. Still perfect from the outside, but something was missing. It looked hollow, lifeless, ashamed. I didn't knock. I didn't need closure. I left a letter in the mailbox. "You taught me how to disappear. Now watch how I erase you." Then I drove away, and I never looked back. Some say healing comes through forgiveness. I disagree. Sometimes healing comes through fire, through truth, through burning every bridge that leads back to pain. They tried to break me, but they built something stronger. And now, their name isn't remembered with pride. It's remembered as a warning. Their daughter? Still standing. Still free. Still unbroken.